Be a similar situation where Complexity tries to push in too early and you have the song into the Maiden Ultimate, which could, one fight is all it takes.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
change the game.
I think EG are very happy to go into Dragon Knight with a Storm pick though, because like this could secure a good mid lane for Sumail. Laning against a melee hero as Storm is so easy. So yes, there's a strong push from Complexity, but they need to really be able to group up as 5 and go. So one way to solve that is to start ganking before that happens.
Yeah, like the only issue is like if the Storm gets into the situation where the enemy is grouping up, like he wouldn't be able to do much against that. So that would be the issue there. But I could see it working if he actually gets a very good start. Has a CM, he has the CM aura, so the lane will be really good for him.
I have to say, I really like both drafts so far.
Wow.
I think
armor, they are like
solid.
stacking all the armor.
Yeah.
Literally. Dazzle, Dragon Knight, and Sven.
Yeah, they're one of the few teams that actually pick Sven without... Like, we saw Cloud9 pick it up versus the Techies because of the Warcry versus the Mines. We've also seen Sven IO, not terribly common, but still probably one of the most common partners with Sven. But Complexity is one of the few teams that just pick straight Sven carry without any partner.
Do you think like Zeus would be good against this type of lineup? You mass spell damage because they have a lot of armor, so Zeus would be able to actually deal with them very well before they have BKB.
Razor.
I think Zeus could have worked really well. It's still an option for them. I like the Razor pick. I think it's also quite solid because they do lack damage in a way. Like if you can control the Sven, I think they lack a bit of damage.
It's a good way of dealing with the Sven. Like the Razor, I feel a lot of it is like the matchup between Sven and Razor is very favorable for if you're going to run the Sven as a carry. So Razor will have a very good matchup in that sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean that's very fine, but if it just goes late right now, having DK and Sven and a Dazzle decide that, I think Complexity have a very comfortable late game scenario ahead of them. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised that EG did not go for the harder carry approach, but instead went for the...
It might be because they're like looking for a Tinker mid. I think Tinker
yeah.
has a lot of synergy with Naga. It's really good late game, and it's good at stalling the pushes. I think it's a little bit better than Zeus, although I do like the Zeus pick versus the mass armor. It just doesn't scale as well late, and I think that EG always drafts like, sufficient late game.
Just look at their lineup right now. They need someone that the Sumail hero they are looking for has to have very heavy carry potential, and Tinker definitely fits that category.
Yeah, sounds
He
like
does.
a great pick.
Yeah. I don't think Storm is the hero with their current matchup anymore. Like, it's going to be hard to kill. So many tanky heroes and the
You
Grave.
can't kill anyone, I think, as a Storm. So
Yeah.
if you can't kill, you want a hero that can drag out fights like Tinker.
When you're facing Lina with Jules, DK, it's going to be a tough storm game. It's very not easy to play. BKB is really needed.
So do they have any other options apart from Tinker, Zeus?
Yeah, Zeus and Tinker are like the go-to, but thinking. They ban out the Bloodseeker, so worried about that. That could have been a strong hero, actually. The AoE is making it hard for Dazzle to get a good Grave off with the silence coming out.
But Sumail doesn't play any of these if they were to pick Bloodseeker.
That's true. Well, maybe they expect him to play Razor in that case, just putting a Razor mid. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like a Sumail hero, though.
So how about Complexity? So they're definitely looking for their offlane hero. Sven, Lina most likely the support here with Dazzle, and the last one will be their offlaner.
I really feel like they need AoE control. I don't know. I thought Centaur would be a great pick, but it was bad.
Yep, Centaur will be great for their lineup.
Magnus could work. Axe,
Oh,
to an
Magnus sounds
extent.
really good with
Yeah.
Sven.
Something like this. Magnus, an Axe. They really need control. That's what they like to me.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, but I could.
Not sure
it's more
what's the
damage.
reasoning though.
Yeah, I don't really quite understand the Timber pick, I have to say, but especially because he's gonna have to face a very, very tough lane. Like Naga Maiden Razor, you're gonna die every time you
Yeah, and the issue with Timbersaw is if you don't get anything out of the lane, you can't jungle,
Yeah.
and there's no way of coming back.
Yeah,
So it's
he's
very
one of those
difficult.
heroes. He needs to be on the lane and get XP.
They should dual lane like 100% in this game. Just looking at Dazzle and Timbersaw are most likely going to go together in just a Lina Sven lane. And then
How about the aggro try? Sven, Lina, Dazzle, and let Timbersaw get a 1v1 matchup. That would actually work towards
That would be nice for him as well.
But it's a tough lane to challenge though, because Maiden, Naga, Razor is not.
Yeah.
They can just spam you out.
I mean, they have a lot of stun and nuke, so it could probably work in their favor if they get their spells right. They can chain lock and kill someone.
It would be exciting. We haven't seen a try versus try in the game
I think
at all, actually.
I think when you pick Timbersaw, a lot of his strength is if you get a suitable 1v1 matchup and he's against Tusk.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
a
good
strength
matchup.
hero.
That would be a dream. Yeah.
Ember Spirit.
And
That is interesting.
Brought out a good fighting hero early on and works a lot better into the late game than, for say the Storm Spirit
Yeah.
would. And he's pretty strong early on as well when he has max level in Flame Lord, so this could work.
Interesting. Interesting lineups indeed. We are ready for game number 2. EG stand on the cusp of the semi-finals of the upper bracket and a top 6 finish at TI5. Let's find out whether they can confirm it or Complexity can come back and square the match. Let's go back to the commentators.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's time to get underway to see if Complexity can force this to a third game or if EG would find themselves sitting very comfortably in their semi-final position. Cinderin, we have an abnormal draft.
Yes, I am so excited about this game. You know, I looked at Complexity's lineup, and the first thing that just came to mind for me was just armor. That was the first thing I thought. Like, their entire lineup, apart from Lina, she's the odd one out. You might be seeing 3 heroes on the Radiant side running around with like 40 to 50 armor in fights. They have the Warcry from Sven. Let me try that again. The Warcry from Sven. Apparently that was a tongue twister today. For 20 armor. Timbersaw's passive, of course, also maxing out at 20 armor. Then they have Weave. And they have a Dragon Knight, who innately has a lot of armor when he gets Dragon Blood up. And this makes me worry a little bit for EG, because when you look over their side, the vast majority of their damage is actually physical. In the super early game, of course, Flame Guard from Ember can be powerful, but come mid-late game, EG will have to rely on Razor with his ultimate and just right-clicks, as well as Ember Spirit's Sleight of Fist to get the job done. I'm simply worried that we could reach a point here where Complexity will be able to push the base at 25 minutes with all of their armor just stacked up, and EG can't repel them. I love Complexity's draft for this matchup. I think it's way more one-sided of a draft for me compared to game 1, and EG, in my opinion, have to play a really good game here to win.
It feels like the polar opposite of like a Huskar as far as the way the hero is built, and it's Complexity who can just stand alive with a huge amount of armor. Of course, so Timbersaw hasn't been the most popular of heroes of late, also because of the age of the burst damage. Another good reason why they had that Lina picked up by Complexity nice and early on. There's nothing like that. Like, there's no Finger of Death, there's no Laguna Blade just to bring him down before these armor charges start to stack for the Timbersaw. He said it maxes at 20, but it still could be brought down before that. Everything from EG is pretty continuous until we hit the Ember Spirit having like huge amounts of damage. But that's only if you get there.
Yeah, we might see in this particular game Sumail considering a Deso build over a Battle Fury, or maybe he's going to get both. But I think this time around, EG simply need to address that problem at some point in the game. If their early game doesn't go incredibly, so they just get really far ahead and don't really have that problem, they will need to itemize. They will need a Cuirass, they will need a Deso. It's really good to get it on the Ember because he hits all the targets automatically with his Sleight of Fist, so they can apply the Deso to all the heroes. Alternatively, could consider it, of course, on Universe Tusk. It's not that uncommon of an item on that hero.
Howie, real trouble on bottom lane. The Light Strike Array from Flying was able to connect. They need more damage to kill him, however. That's a Stout Shield. But then again, with a second Light Strike Array, Complexity open up the account. They claim first blood, and this is not the way EG wanted to start this. Because the Observer Wards that were down from Complexity, they saw where EG was shifting their lanes. They saw, okay, the Tuskar's moving back up the top because he was trying to dodge the Timbersaw, and already Complexity had preemptively noticed that EG are going to switch this. They've actually brought the Timber down to the bot lane. Universe just can't catch a break.
This is a very... I feel like this happens pretty rarely, but it's a very logical play. Moon Meander got pressured in the top lane, and instead of TPing back to base or TPing to his safe or his offlane tier 1 tower, as we usually see offlaners do when they're threatened, he just immediately TP'd bottom. They knew they wanted the lane swap immediately, so he kind of gets, like, he solves 2 problems at once. He escapes a gank and gets himself into a better lane with 1 play. And now this top lane for EG, I'm not so sure about this for Complexity, actually. I think Razor Naga has a lot of potential to kill a Sven Lina lane. Sure, they've got a decent amount of spell burst, but if they don't get the full combo off and put fear really low very quickly, the Naga and Razor can just run them down with Static Link and, of course, the Ensnare.
That's why it's interesting to watch how they're just prepping themselves on the lane. So Fly starts with the Light Strike Array, then you go into something like the Stormbolt, so you're able to get that second stun off. Instead of just having the Sven throw out the Stormbolt and go from there, Sumail might be in a little bit of trouble here in mid lane. Pushing back the Flame Guard and having a PMS does help. There's been a lot of trade-off in that mid lane. But Sumail still found a very large chunk of farm as that Ember Spirit, 14-1, up against that DK, who's got 8 for 1 currently.
Yeah, that's the good thing about this pick for EG. We've talked...
They're going to split up the lane right now. Fly knows he could be in a little bit of trouble, so Freak's going to babysit him all the way out of here. There's no ensnare for Naga. She's still only level 1. So they move this Ven back over again while I'm hearing a little bit of chains in mid. Swindelmelons is fine. He's a DK.
But yeah, what I was getting at, this lane in mid is actually a very good lane matchup for Ember compared to a lot of the matchups we see. The reason Ember mid is played pretty rarely in competitive Dota is that he's just a weak mid laner. He can get pressured very well by long-range heroes with harassment such as Queen of Pain and Lina. But Dragon Knight can't really put out the same amount of pressure. You Flame Guard and you just take the wave, and you can try to break the Flame Guard with Breathe Fire, but that doesn't cut it. It's not enough to remove it. So.
But then again, does he have to? Like right now, it almost feels like the Dragon Knight just has to sit there, farm it up as much as he can, and just don't die.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the other lanes are doing their work. Timbersaur's actually gaining momentum as a solo hero in this lane. For me, I think that's as scary than anything else that EG is going to be facing.
This is definitely what complexity is.
Stormbolt, top lane, they go on Fear. Fly will get the Light Strike array as well with the Poison Touch Fear. He won't have the movement speed to escape. Evil Geniuses! They're down 2 kills to 0 here in the early stages of Game 2.
Very good movement here from Z-Freak and Zizzy after the stun combo, making sure they get the maximal damage out of the Shadow Wave. Getting 2 targets with Shadow Wave, dealing some good physical damage to Fear, bringing down the Razor.
Okay, I want to ask you about this. PPD, he's in the jungle for 4 minutes now. Found 3.5 levels with 2 points up in the aura. Does PPD come out and actually be a presence on this top lane? He's only got Frostbite right now. When does the Crystal Maiden become effective? And I'm asking this as well because I'm just thinking when it happens, PPD is going to end up feeding himself.
He's going to need to find the best way for himself to have an impact while getting farmed. I think this is the kind of game where it's really important the Crystal Maiden gets farmed.
Middle lane.
It's kind of weird because you usually don't pick CM like
he's
that.
in real trouble.
Yeah.
Dragon Tail stun. He gets the Flame Guard up, however, so he's able to tank through a lot of this and actually turn on to Fly. The burn's doing his work, and Swindelmelons putting his body in front of him.
Level 3 Flame Guard blocks 350 magic damage, so it's both spells from Fly as well as a Dragon's, or a Breathe Fire, pretty much. They need to get through that in the first place, and then, well, they haven't really damaged him. But yeah, what I was going to get at is that I think the CM in this game has to get farmed to get a good ultimate off, because, as mentioned, they will need to get some sort of magic damage in order to pierce all the armor. So PPD's involvement in this top lane should be, he should try for ganks when there's a really high probability of success, but he shouldn't come in just to harass. It's not going to be worthy of his time. He has to find a way to build toward a Glimmer Cave, for example, or something that will enable him to use the Freezing Field later on in the game. But full-time jungling is not good either. It's actually really slow on Crystal Maiden. It's deceptively slow. You're like, wow, I can keep
this has been opening right now, but he missed the chains, and that means Swindelmelons can turn around, goes to the Dragon Tussle over on the Tusker, Fly with his follow-up stun, but not enough life to really stay that close to the Ember Spirit. But this is the first rotation now from the Tusker. And Universe unable to find the opening while on bottom lane, Warcry. Ven just trying to outrun Fear. He stole 28 points of damage, but the creep wave also went so far behind the tower that Fear was forced to back up. He had no more support there.
So far, so good in the early game for complexity, in my opinion. Sven is not finding that much, but neither is Razor. Like, the nature of this lane with how they're pressuring each other, a lot of CS will just be lost. And the effective trade-off is Ember is getting a really good mid lane for the Timbersaw getting a really good safe lane. And I think this is a very, very good Timber game. This hero shreds Ember as well. It's something we haven't talked about. By having 3 abilities that can potentially deal pure damage, of course Whirling Death depends on a tree, but the 2 others are guaranteed pure. They pierce the Flame Guard. So Moon Meander can very quickly make work of Sumail if he gets out of his
Searing Chain is going again here. Sumail, he's got Spirits to commit if he wants to go after Swindle, but coming underneath the tier 1 tower is not something he wants to do this early on. Let's actually just do a Timber Shake, because we